We've seen the flooding in Carolina, Texas, and wrecking hazards all across the United States and the world. And they're very dangerous in part because they're so surprising. And they're very, what we call nonlinear. The reaction is disproportionate. So when one second you're looking at a very calm river, but the next minute it could have risen, the stage could have risen a lot. And that can frequently catch people by surprise. My name is Chaopeng Shen. I'm a professor from Civil and Environmental Engineering at Penn State University. This particular instance in Texas, and often in Texas, what happens is called a flash flood. Because of the particular geographic situation, the flood can happen very quickly, and you have runoff from the upstream that rushes down the rivers very quickly. So it's and the landscape doesn't absorb water as it rains on as rain hits the land. It just like they like all rushes toward the downstream, so they all gather around the same time. So it rises very quickly and tend to catch people by surprise. This concept of risk, especially when it happens every few decades, it's very hard to get into people's mind. We have a hard time grasping the concept of a disaster that happens every 30, 50 or 100 years. And when it happens, it can be deadly. The flood-inducing events are actually happening more and more frequently, and the magnitudes can become larger. So often people have looked back in the last few decades to kind of design their life and make the urban planning around what we have seen in the past few decades. But a lot of the measurements also happened in the 50s to 70s, which is a relatively quiet period hydrologically. But we then tend to underestimate risks. Of course, there's elements of climate change to it, right? So as the climate gets warmer, you have the air has more capacity to hold water, and that tends to lead to more intense extreme events. And that's by looking at data, there has been pretty solid evidence in many parts of the country that the flooding risks are rising. The most powerful aspects of AI is to allow us to absorb information from massive amount of data sets. And these data sets can help us characterize how the landscape is going to respond to the rainfall, right? When we have better and stronger capability to make predictions, we can inform people, we can ask them to evacuate ahead of time, or if we know the risks, we can say, well, this is a 50-year floodplain. Are you going to really build there? If you do, what kind of precautions you should take? What are the protocols you should take to avoid such disasters?
I'm Yalan Song. I'm a research assistant professor at Penn State University. So ChatGPT is to mimic how people think, and our model is trying to mimic how the nature behaves.